2, 1. We are live now.
So I welcome all the students, those who are joining in. Welcome again to our 20th virtual expert talk. And I'm very thankful to our expert today, ma'am Shilpa Anaya ma'am, for joining us today and briefing our students. So we have already 40 students who have already joined in the first minute only, and the number is increasing fast. So we have already 55 students. I'll start up with the session once we are at 100 mark. Let all the participants join. I suppose they already have their first session would be already over by now, and they'll be joining this particular Zoom ID. So we have 20th expert talk today, 20th virtual expert talk today, and Shilpa Anaya ma'am would be interacting with you guys today, and she's one of the best in this particular field of training and coaching and motivating the students. So we are very thankful to Shilpa ma'am for joining today, and meantime more of the students would be joining in. We have 60 students now, so I'll be waiting for another 40 students. They would be joining. So this would be our I would like to brief the students. This for the first semester students, they'll be having their university examinations, and this would be our last guest expert talk for now. We'll be coming up with the more of such motivating and motivational and skill based sessions after your examinations, obviously. And today we have expert joining us today, Shilpa Anaya ma'am, and so we have around 65 students now. I'll wait for another few students to join in. So 70 students have already joined in. So during the past 1 month, so we have around 19 expert talks, including today's, that is the 20th one. And we have covered a lot many of topics related to your getting a good job, or LinkedIn skills, or LinkedIn growth techniques, or some of the motivational sessions, some sessions on the leadership, and some sessions on the teamwork, and how to make a marketable resume, how to get a good job, what are the challenges of 21st century, how to prepare for the future. So I have a list of all the 20 expert talks and the topics. So I would also be posting it on our social media accounts, so you can have a look over the topics that we have covered. And I would also like to say that we have uploaded almost all of these expert talks on our YouTube also. So I would forward you the link of our YouTube channel, so you can subscribe to that particular YouTube channel, and you can watch all the videos, all the expert talks. Even if you have missed some of the expert talks, you can go back and watch our YouTube channel, and you will find all the expert talks, the complete video of 1 hour, or let's say 40-50 minutes, whatever may be the time for that expert talk. So you can have a look over all the videos on our YouTube channel. I would SMS you, I would message you on the WhatsApp also regarding our YouTube channel. And all the third semester and all the existing students also, they can watch all these videos. So the link of our YouTube channel would be sent to you on your WhatsApp accounts or the WhatsApp groups. And you can, like many of the students were saying that they have missed some of the sessions, or let's say they like some part of that particular session. So they can go to our YouTube channel and watch the entire session. So it would be a thing that was missing, like we were not having that particular thing. So it is complete now. So we have all the videos and we have uploaded it. So we have around 79 students now, 84 students now. And I would wait for another 40 seconds. Then we can start with this particular session. So we have a we are very thankful to Shilpa ma'am for joining us today, and she is a trainer, motivational speaker, coach, assistant professor, freelance speaker. She has experience of 15 years in this particular field. So I would brief you regarding the profile of Shilpa ma'am after a few seconds. I don't want anybody to miss on this particular part. We have 85 students now. Okay, so I suppose we can start up with the session. Meantime, I would be finishing up. We'll be reaching that 100 mark. So welcome all of you to our 20th virtual expert talk. Today we have expert with us, Shilpa ma'am, and I welcome Shilpa ma'am to this virtual platform. I welcome. I'm very thankful to you because you have agreed to interact with our students on such a short notice. And now I would ask my colleague Harman ma'am to formally welcome Shilpa ma'am and introduce Shilpa ma'am to the audience. Harman ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir, for inviting me to introduce ma'am. So everybody, all the attendees, a very warm welcome to this session. It's my pleasure introducing you, ma'am. Shilpa means worship, and she literally takes life as one. She's a trainer, a coach, a teacher, an assistant professor, and a freelance speaker. Ma'am has a rich work experience of 15 years. Born and brought up and currently working in the city of Mumbai, she continues to work in the field of education. Always having a close communion with books, and she's a postgraduate in English, and I would also like to mention that she has also appeared for civil services twice. Shilpa ma'am loves to communicate, motivate, and make you love your life, and she does not believe in excuses, and she always says that you should take responsibility as a motion of life, and her motto of the motto of our life is idle must elude grasp. So with such a great personality, with such positive attitude, we are really blessed to have you, ma'am, here. So I give you the stage to directly interact with all our attendees. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining, and please take over, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Harman, for painting such a rosy picture for me. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Rajesh Bagga, Mr. Kaval, and Mr. Malkeet, thank you so much. And I'm really glad to be here. I'm really glad to interact with all you students. I am from Mumbai, yes, but I have lived many, many years in Punjab as well. So I know in and out of Punjab, and I completely relate to that land. I really, I'm very close to that land. So I'm very happy to interact with you all. And today's topic might seem a little crazy to you all. The name of my topic is Horn, Okay, Please, Road to Success. Now, why have I chosen this topic, and what is the relevance for you all? So let's talk about that first, so that you know what I am going to do with this topic and with this session today. So Horn, Okay, Please, it simply is an analogy of the road called life. All right. And we are the drivers of this truck that we have with us, which is obviously our life. And it's our responsibility to be very careful and to drive in a manner that we reach our destination, our goal, and we achieve success in life. So horn, okay, please. Now I'm going to elaborate this topic in the coming, session, in the session that we are going to take up today. But why this session? So during this lockdown period, don't you think you all have come across some sort of revelation within yourselves? It has made you think a lot. It has made you ponder what is happening with our lives. What are we doing? And whatever we are doing, whatever state we are in, why are we in this particular state? And what we should do from here on so that our life becomes more meaningful. So one day when I was just sitting in my balcony and I was just pondering about life, and I just went into a sudden reverie and a daydream, I was brought back into reality with this, loud horn of a truck. And suddenly it, jolted me, and I came back to life that no, I was daydreaming. I have to take grip of my life. I have to make it more meaningful. So that's how I realized that it's very important that we blow the horn in our life so that we get on track again. So when I am discussing about this particular session, I simply want you to understand that this session is nothing but it is a session on life skills and what sort of skills you require so that you achieve success in life. Okay. And another reason why I chose this topic was that because I wanted you all to remember me even after the talk. And when you go out on the road, this is the best sign that you see everywhere. Horn, okay, please. So next time you see this sign, you will remember what I have told you, and you will remember what horn actually is in a different sense in our lives, right? So I hope that I have already made my point very clear. To discuss further, I'm going to present a PowerPoint presentation so that it becomes very clear, and I can, impart certain values through my PPT. So I'm going to share my screen now. So I hope you all can see the screen.
Yeah, it's
Like
visible.
I told you, the topic for today is Horn, okay, please, road to success. Now, what it literally means, I have just discussed with you all. And from here on, I'm just going to elaborate on each and every aspect of my talk. Okay. Now, what is the purpose of a horn in a vehicle? What does it do? Any answers? You can raise your hand to answer. You can just type something on the chat box. Okay, what is the purpose? The purpose of a horn in a vehicle is to make people aware that you are there on the road called life. Similarly, when you are, in any given situation, it is very important that you blow the horn so that people realize that yes, you are a part of the situation, so that you know that you are in the situation as well. Now, what if the horn is blown after the accident? What if there is an accident and no one blows the horn on the road and the horn is blown after the accident? Does it make any sense to you? No, it doesn't make any sense. So it's very important that you blow the horn at the right moment. So you do the check of your life at the right moment. And imagine, what if vehicles did not have a horn at all? You were on the road, but there was no horn at all in the vehicle. What would happen? Yes, utter chaos on the road, right? So do we want utter chaos on our road called life? No, we want this to be a very smooth journey. So do you think it is ever possible to have a vehicle without a horn and still have a smooth life? No. So the horn is very, very important in our lives. Now let's discuss what this horn is. What is the horn, and what is our road to success, and what really success is? So in our lives, this horn carries no sound. Okay, it has no sound. It is not, no one is going to tell you that the horn is blowing. It has no sound, but it has a lot of noise. See, please understand, no sound, but a lot of noise. So when I say noise, it means if you don't do a reality check, or if your life does not have a horn, then there is going to be a lot of disturbance called noise in your life. And when you are not able to tackle this disturbance in your life, there will be utter chaos. So it's very important that to avoid any accident or to avoid any fatalities, you have to use the horn at the right moment. So what is this horn? It is a reality check for our strength of character. This horn is a source to check the expertise of the driver who is on the wheel on the road to life. We are checking your expertise. Are you expert enough to deal with different situations? Yes. And if ever you come across a difficult situation, you need to ask yourself the question. You need to bring forth this word horn. Slowly, I will tell you what this horn is. So please wait. Let the suspense build. So yes, you have to do this check, and every time you have to check this word and ask, am I blowing the horn? Is this correct? Is this what it is supposed to be? And then we talk about success. Now, success is not only about hoarding money. If you feel success is hoarding money and becoming rich, no, that's not success. Success comes in very little things, and those little things accumulate to become, to take the larger picture of your life. So if I tell you that you have planned to get up early in the morning, the next morning, say you get up at 9 o'clock every day, but you feel that it's too late and you should get up early. So the next morning you try and you get up at 8:30, success. If you feel that you want to lose weight and you quit sugar from the next day, success. If you feel that you are ignoring your family and your relationships and you spend just half an hour with them every single day, success. So success is not only about hoarding money. Success is not only about having materialistic things. It is very important that you celebrate little things in your life, and those things will accumulate to make a larger picture of your life. So I hope I'm clear on what is the horn in our road to success and what really success is. Now, when I talk about horn, I have divided this word into 4 parts, which is the spelling of horn, H-O-R-N. Now for H stands for honor. Now what is honor? By honor, I mean you need to value, you need to honor your time, you need to honor your relationships, you need to honor your word, and you need to honor your food. These are the 4 aspects that I really want you to ponder about. So when I say honor, it means you need to respect these things in your life, right? So you need to respect time, you need to respect relationships, you need to respect your word, and you need to respect the food that you eat. So I will start with a quote that says, always be punctual and disciplined, because once you learn to quit, it becomes a habit. Only once, it takes only once. If you quit from something just once, that will become your habit. You will keep repeating it, you will keep quitting. Oh, I cannot do it, I'm leaving this. I cannot do it, I'm leaving it. So don't do it. Don't ever quit, because if you quit once, it will become your habit. So when I say honor your time, what do I mean by saying honor your time? What do I mean? I mean, you should not waste your time. You should not kill your time. Also, very importantly, you should always plan. You should always have an action, ready, that what you're going to do on a particular day and in a particular hour. I have seen so many people who just spend their days and their life just like that without having no plan. Have you ever heard of someone having a plan of becoming broke or becoming fat? Is there anyone in this world, who had a plan? Okay, I will do this, and this is how I will lose all my money. I'll do this, and this is how I will become fat. Have you ever heard? No. So no one ever has a plan of becoming broke or becoming fat. It is just that these things happen when we don't have a plan, right? So it's very important to value time and to plan everything in your life. Without planning, there is no life. You cannot have a life without planning. So now I would be giving you tips further down in my session as to how you can do these things. If I say honor time and I'm telling you that you need to plan how you're going to do it, that also I will be elaborating in my session. So first, let's deal with these aspects, and then we will work on how to achieve them. Okay, now when I say honor your relationships, what do I mean by saying honor your relationships? It means that you need to give respect to the people around you, be it your friends, be it your family, be it your relatives, whatever it is. Research shows, it has been predicted, and it has also been proved that all those who have good relationships, success comes very naturally to them. They don't have to struggle for achieving their targets. Why is that so? Because when you have a good relationship, or you have good relationships, you will be free of stress and anxiety. When you are free of stress and anxiety, you will automatically perform better. When you perform better, you will definitely grow faster. So it is but obvious, everyone knows that happy relationships create happiness, and it is a ripple effect. If you are happy, everyone around you will be happy. And when there is happiness around you, there will be growth, and there will be a lot of success in whatever you do. Third point is honor your word. Now, this particular aspect, the young generation is not very good at. And we should learn from the older generation, especially from Indian history. If you would know, when the kings and when the sages and the saints, they just used to say something and they used to do it. They used to follow it. That we have said it, now we have to follow it. Right? Once they used to say something, they used to follow it. But this generation is quite fickle minded. They would say something, and then the next moment they would say, no, no, no. Then they would go back on the previous thing, then say something new. So it's very important that you respect your word. If you have said something that, yes, I will come tomorrow at 1 p.m., you will be there. If you have pledged to come and sit for this session, you should be there. So once if you have given your word for something, you have to honor it. And that is the identity of a good character. That is what shows a good character. Now, I really didn't want to remark, but I have to say this. Indian constitution is the longest constitution of the entire world. We know this, right? Yes, thanks to Dr. Baba Saheb. He has made this very complex constitution for us. But it is the longest, it is the most elaborate constitutions, it is full of rules, it is full of regulations, but still we see every single day they are being violated. Every single day people have to be reminded, oh, you cannot do this, this is wrong, this is against the law, this is against the rules. So what is happening? We are not honoring the word that was given to us. So it is very important. This is a two-way street. You have to honor your word, and you also have to honor the word that is given to you. You know, you will be shocked if I tell you that United Kingdom has no written constitution. They don't need a rule book. They don't have a written constitution. People do their duties. People do what they are told to do just because they have to do it. That's called honoring your word. And we should learn. We should be a person who, if I have said something to someone, I will definitely do it, and I will not go back on my words, which is very important. Last but not the least is honor your food. Now, I am, taking these points specifically because this is a trend that has been observed in this generation, because I'm dealing with the young generation who's just going to step into this world, into the real world. So food, I have noticed that, a very negative aspect about food these days. The young generation, they eat food with a lot of guilt. Now I have eaten this, I'm going to go fat. अब मैंने ये खा लिया, मुझे ये हो जाएगा. I have had ice cream, I'm definitely going to become fat. I've had this now. So it is very important, first and foremost, that whatever food you eat, please understand that your body needs it, and it is going to be a part of your body. So if you're eating it with positivity, it will become positive. If you're taking it with negativity, it is becoming a negative part of you. So it's very important to have food with a lot of respect. Instead of guilt, please bring the sense of, satisfaction. Bring the sense of gratefulness. Whenever you have food, first and foremost, think about those people. First, thank the soil, thank the water, thank the farmers and all the other people who have made it possible that you have food on your plate. Because there are so many people in the world who don't even get food. And when you get it, you are having it with complaints. So don't do that. All right. Every morsel that goes into your mouth becomes a part of you. Now you have to decide you want to take it positively or you want to take it negatively. So honor food. Honor time, honor relationships, honor your word, and honor food. Let's go on to the next part, that is O. Onus. Onus means responsibility. Like Harman said during my introduction, that I believe responsibility is the emotion of life. If you are not responsible, you are not going anywhere in life. It is because of the responsibility that has been given to you that you are doing certain aspects of your life, right? If suppose you are not responsible, you are given a job, but you don't turn up. Will you ever be given that job? No, you will be fired from your workplace. All right. If a mother is given the role of being a mother, she's doing it because she feels she is responsible. What if she says, I'm not going to do it? I don't feel like doing it. I'm not going to do it. So what is going to happen? There's going to be utter chaos. So without responsibility, there can be no life. Actually, if you ask me, responsibility is the emotion. Now I have broken this aspect, okay, into again 4 parts. So first is financial responsibility towards yourself. Now, when I am saying financial, I really want students to understand that maybe they would feel that we don't have to look after financial aspects. Our parents are going to do that for us. But at your age, it is extremely important that you start thinking ahead. Don't make the mistakes that your parents made. Learn from their mistakes and also grasp the good points that they have. So one very good aspect about Indian, culture and Indian mentality is that that's why I say that India can never go bankrupt, because we have so much of gold and so much of money that is hoarded inside our lockers, right? So it's very important that you start planning for yourselves, and financial planning I have put as number 1 here, because for students it is generally neglected. In our country, this should be taught right from the school, but it is not taught. So there are many students who would want to start their own business, who would want to be on their own, be entrepreneurs, but they would not be financially sound. So that can create a big problem. You should know about the taxes, you should know about your financial standing. So now when I talk about financial independence or the responsibility towards yourself financially, what do I literally mean? So first and foremost, it's very important for you to start saving. So a person who starts saving at the age of 25, and when that person reaches 40 years of age, that person is in a very good place in life. You will notice that this saving little by little has really helped that person, and by the age of 40, that person becomes very less stressful. Now why I'm telling you this is because there is a certain phase, there are phases in our lives. From 25 to 40, these are the prime earning ages of your life, right? And after 40, you want to spend more time with your family, you want to devote more time to your family. Now at that time, when you are so stressed about your finances, you will not be able to give proper time to your family. So your role of being financially independent starts right now. If you're 22, 23, 24, 25, whatever your age is, start doing something or the other right now, so that by the time you attain the age of 40, you are in a very good position and you are not stressed out about finances. Because whoever says money is not the most important thing in life, they are absolutely wrong. Money is extremely important in life. Yes, we cannot we should not live by the fact that we only have to earn money. There should be a balance in life. But if you have money and if you are financially sound, many other things come to you very easily, because you feel safe and secure. So yes, if it is about safety and security, money is extremely important. It is very, very important. So I want to bring out this aspect in just one line. Plan ahead for the kind of life that you dream about. So if you do the things when you need to do them, okay, someday you can do the things you want to do when you want to do them. That means you can be your, हम बोलते हैं अपने मर्जी के मालिक. So when you do the right things at the right time, when you need them, then in the future, someday you will be able to do the things, what things you want to do at the time you want to do them, without any compulsion on your head and without any stress. So I hope I am clear about this aspect. Please show me a thumbs up. Yes, perfect. Okay. Now, my next aspect is emotional responsibility towards yourself. When I say emotional responsibility towards yourself, it simply means that you have to stay in a very balanced state of mind. Now, these days, there's a lot of news going around about mental health and, the youth falling, the youth taking the support of drugs and alcohol and, all these kind of things. So I don't really understand what is missing inside of you that you need some other source outside of you to feel happy. If you're feeling happy, you need that intoxicant. If you're feeling sad, you need an intoxicant. But why are you so dependent on the outside sources for your own happiness? Can't you celebrate? If you are happy, can't you celebrate that happiness within yourselves and with your family members and your friends? Do you need an intoxicant to celebrate happiness? Do you need an intoxicant to feel good about yourself? Do you need an intoxicant to feel active? If yes, then you are in a major trouble and you need to do something about it. Right? So this is a reality check. Don't be dependent on anything external to make you happy or to make you sad. This should be in your control. And your emotional well-being can be taken care of only when you surround yourselves with the right people. See, we are, whatever we think and do, it is a direct outcome of the immediate 5 people we move with or we interact with. And these 5 people have a direct bearing on our lives. So if you feel that there is a person who is negative and who is constantly bringing you down, say bye to that person without even thinking twice. And if you feel there is a person you don't really talk to very often, but that person lifts you up, talk to that person more often. Okay? So creating this sense of balance, this sense of level-headedness within yourself is your responsibility. No one else is going to do it for you. If I ask you to get up early in the morning and if I ask you to do certain meditations in the morning, it's completely your responsibility. No one else is going to do for you. So do not give the remote control of yourself in anyone else's hand. And when I say anyone, I mean people. But these days, it is pretty evident that people are relying on other sources for their happiness, like I said. That should not happen. Third aspect is physical self. You have to be responsible about your physical body because your physical body is actually the machine that is carrying everything for you. So you have to take care of this machine. If this machine breaks down, you will not be able to do anything in life, right? So it's very important that you take care of of your physical being. So when I say physical being, obviously I include exercising. And during this lockdown period, it has become reverse. People who are not exercising also have started exercising. I have seen so many people who have realized that it's very important to do some sort of physical exercising. So even if they cannot step out, yoga has been the fad. Yoga, people are practicing like anything. So before the lockdown, people just knew about yoga. Some people were doing yoga, but this lockdown has actually brought yoga in everyone's house thanks to to video conferencing, that we can learn yoga now. It's become so approachable. And what else do you need if you can do yoga? I feel that's the best thing you can do to yourselves. But yes, you can do anything. It has to be half an hour to 40 minutes of rigorous physical activity every single day. All right. And this activity is very important to keep you in the right state. So when you are financially sound, when you're emotionally sound, physically you're taking care of yourself. Next aspect is mental. Now this is important because your thoughts can never be controlled. Your thoughts can never be controlled. They never sleep. Your mind never sleeps. So it's important that you control your thoughts in a way that your mind is your friend and not your enemy. So all those people who are going through mental disturbances, they're simply going through mental disturbances because their mind has stopped being their friend. Their mind has become their enemy, right? So it's very important to befriend your mind first. It's very important that your mind works for you and you don't work for your mind, right? There's a stark difference in this. So how do you bring your mind in your control? It's important that you feed it right. Okay, I know youngsters who don't read at all. I know youngsters who are just blank when you talk to them about anything. So it's important that you start reading. And every night before you sleep, it has to be your ritual to read a book, not on a screen. Not on a screen. It is imperative that you grab a book and before you sleep, you read for at least half an hour. And that is going to change you as a person. And you can read anything. It's not necessary that you have to read any particular genre. Just avoid news. But apart from that, you can read just about anything, and it's going to really, really help you. So you have to, you know, make these conscious choices. You have to make these choices because ultimately you are responsible for yourself. And I just want to say that all those who are not looking at self growth, they have become stagnant. And once you become stagnant, you will feel that you are lagging behind with every single day. Days will pass, months will pass, and then slowly you realize that you are not fit and you are a misfit in this world. Don't let that happen, because it is your responsibility to keep yourself fit in all these aspects. So are we going to take the onus about ourselves? Yes, we have to do it. No one else is going to do it for us. Now, R. When I say R, I want to say that return twice of what you receive. So whatever you return in, whatever you receive in your life, make sure that you have to return it twice. It's a very simple rule of thumb. What do you want people to do for you? You grab the initiative and you do it for them. Whatever you want that people should do this for me, people should do that for me, you grab that initiative and you do it for them instead, right? So when I say return twice, what does it mean? Return twice. If you receive something from, from people, you have to return it twice. For example, if your friend treats you with one samosa, next time you have to treat him with two samosas. Okay. If your sister, your brother gives you a gift, next time you have to return two gifts. It's so simple. And this really, really works. I was watching this video of Mr. Mukesh Ambani, and he said that his father had given him one advice. He said, whatever happens, whenever you receive something from someone, it should not be like this. Don't receive anything from anyone like this. They should give you not like this, but they should give you like this. That means whatever you receive, it should be received in the form of a blessing. And whatever you return, it should be returned twice. So I hope I'm clear with this. When I say return twice, means you simply have to give more. Okay. Now, be unconditional. When you're giving something to someone, it should not be with a condition. So you cannot pray to God and say, I'm going to come here only when I get this. Okay. So people go to temples, people go to gurdwaras, and they say, वहां पर जाओ, ये मन्नत मांगो, ये दुआ पूरी हो जाएगी. Right? That should not be the attitude. You should love unconditionally and you should give unconditionally. And the best thing is to just say thank you for whatever you are receiving. Be grateful. Don't be greedy. My next point is create a reservoir. When I say reservoir, what does it mean? It means creating a bank for yourselves. Now, a bank of blessings. Okay? Because when you are returning something twofold to someone, definitely you will get a blessing. Right or wrong? If you are giving something to someone, twice of what you should be giving, obviously you will get back a lot of blessings. So for example, your some of your friends says that, okay, my parent is not well, or I have to stay back at the hospital, could you please come and pay visit to me, and could you please help me there at the hospital, and could you please spend an hour with me? Instead of 1 hour, you can offer to spend 2 hours. So you are creating a reservoir of blessings for yourself. And this is extremely important because this exactly is called the cycle of karma. And you got to break it. And you got to break it only by creating a bank of blessings, by offering unconditional love. Now, my next aspect about giving freely is a parting gift. Okay. In our tradition, especially in India, there's a tradition that when the guests leave your house, they always give you something. Right? It might be anything. It might be a small gesture, but generally they would not leave without giving you something. It might be some money, it might be some gift, but they generally leave not without a gift. And that tradition is something which is really, really very nice, and we should continue with this tradition. So there are so many Indian traditions which we don't follow. We should follow these traditions. But when I say parting gift, I mean you should give a parting gift to everyone. All right. Now, when I say everyone, it is a good way to end your day at college. It is a good way to end your day at your house. And it is also a good way to end your life. So ending your day at college. So for example, you want to end your day at college, you want to give a parting gift to someone. You can just offer your friend that, okay, you will drop your friend back home, right? That's a parting gift. Or probably, okay, if your friend, wants to just refresh and you just want to have some cold coffee or coffee, whatever that is, you offer that parting gift. Okay, theek hai, aaj coffee meri taraf se. That's a parting gift. So that you can do with your friends. At home, what is a parting gift? When you end the day, there should be a parting gift. So when you end the day, you should end it by giving a parting gift to your grandparents or to your parents. Now that can be in the form of a warm cup of milk. You just go and keep a bottle of water at the bedside of your parents and you just say good night. That is a parting gift. Good night. See, these parting gifts may not be materialistic, but they're really going to be helpful, right? Because you are ending the day on a good note. You are giving something to someone before you sleep. And when you do that, you have a sense of satisfaction in you, right? There's a sense of contribution in you. And when I say end your life, give a parting gift, your life should be a parting gift to your dear ones. That whatever life you lived it so well that even when you are gone, your contribution will remain, right? That exactly is what is called a parting gift, that you have contributed selflessly for the good of others. Now, my next slide is something which is a little complex for most people to understand, but I think it's very important because the young generation is going through this particular phase and it has become very prominent these days. So by N, I mean narcissistic, and I have cancelled it out. So you don't have to be a narcissistic. Now, never be a narcissist. Always remember that there is something more powerful, more important, more beautiful than you. All right. Now, I will quickly tell you who is a narcissist basically. What does a person actually behave like when a person is a narcissist? What are the signs? That person will always think very highly of himself. Like, that person might feel that I am the most important person on this earth and there is no one more important than me. So that person is a narcissistic. They always feel the sense of self entitlement and they feel that they deserve nothing but the best. So if they get anything which is little below the best, they will start cribbing. They will throw tantrums. If you must have seen there are people who go to restaurants and suppose they are not served very good food, they will start creating a ruckus over there only, right? They will become loud, they will start fighting. So these are narcissistic people. Okay, they demand recognition. Even if you didn't do anything to deserve it, they want attention. Even if they've not done anything, but they will want attention. So these are narcissistic people. Okay, they exaggerate and they really exaggerate about their skills too much and brag them about excessively, right? They really do that. So I have put this video of Mr. Ratan Tata in this PPT as well, and I had heard this and I really felt that it's very right. He says that when a Nobel laureate comes and sits beside you, he's never going to tell you that I am a Nobel laureate. The people around you will tell you that he is a Nobel laureate, and that's the identity of a true a person who's truly deserving. So that is what you want to do, and not brag about your qualities and your achievements, because however big you might feel they are ultimately very, very small. Okay. And then the most important aspect here is this: they manipulate people and they use them for their own good, right? They are unwilling to recognize the value of others. They will never be empathetic towards others. So for them, they are the only ones who are very important, who are most important. The concerns, the feelings of others are not important, which is again very, very wrong. So how do you correct this? How do you correct narcissism? First, very important, you always feel that there is someone who is more powerful than you, right? So we all know that we are not driving this world. There is a very big, powerful entity who is running this entire world. So we have to consider that yes, there is a source who is making everything happen, and there is power beyond me. I am not the one who is driving this world. There are people who are more important than you, who have done so much for the society. Probably what you have done would be nothing than what others have done. There are people and things more beautiful than you, right? Please acknowledge nature. Please take joy in observing nature, which is very, very important. These days, the youngsters, they're just constantly into the screens. They see even plants and trees on the screen, right? So it's very important that you develop a very close communion with nature, and you feel that it is nature that is driving everything around us. And that is actually the supreme power, not us. We are not doing anything. So how do you check narcissism is what I have told you. So one very important way to correct this is to develop an attitude of gratitude. If you have gratitude for everything, for the chair that I am sitting on, for the air that I am breathing, for the screen that I am using, for the hands that I am using, for the voice that I am using, I am grateful for everything. A person who is grateful and who sees the good in everything will not be a narcissist person. So why did I use this word? Because these days taking selfies and putting them on the social media is become a craze, right? Selfies have become a craze, and because of these selfies, you see that people have stopped enjoying the little moments of life. Even when they go out on a holiday, they stop enjoying the place, but they're just constantly busy looking at themselves through the phone and through the selfies. And that's how you're missing out on the major chunk of life. You will not learn anything if you do that, right? So many experiences that you could have enjoyed and you could have learned from, they just go for a waste because you are so busy in looking at yourselves. Now, if you find this very difficult, I would like to take you through a video which explains what a narcissist is. So let's see the video. I hope it allows me.
Ma'am, please exit the full screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you need to copy paste the link, copy the link, and then because this is not showing the link.
Yeah, it's not showing the link right.
Yeah, you need to copy the link and then open it in YouTube. Otherwise, directly can be opened in YouTube.
All right. It's actually not even allowing me to edit. So I think I'll have to stop my screen sharing and then show you the video.
Yes, you can stop share the screen and then go to YouTube and then.
As it is.
I also welcome our director, Dr. Rajesh Vaga. He is also present with us today for this very relevant topic. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Kamal. Thank you so much. And I'm really enjoying the session. Number of important points being highlighted, and definitely once we are able to sharpen our personality in such a way, so definitely we can go for our SWOT analysis and we are in a position to excel in our daily life. So I am quite optimistic. All students, they are attending seriously and they are listening patiently, and definitely they will try to imbibe few of the qualities and that can be useful for getting their objectives or the vision and mission, whatever they have set in their lives. So I think now, meantime, the connection is there or it is off. So ma'am is
Yes,
trying
sir.
to, I think,
I
play
suppose
one
ma'am is
video.
yes.
So
Yes, ma'am. Is
connection is there, but she's just trying opening
Okay.
on you.
Meantime, I think we can go for a few questions and answers. In
Yes, sir.
Q&A, I think few questions are there, and I think Kanika Neha is also present. And anyone would like to answer on?
Yeah,
any
yeah,
of the
sure,
questions?
sir. In fact, yeah, I'd like to answer some of the questions that have been asked in the Q&A, and we'll be waiting and for ma'am to come and enlighten us more about them. So there were many questions, like one being, how could you be honoring your words? Students, I just feel that, before you give your word to someone, make sure that you're able to, just don't say things which you don't mean. That is important, right? So if you are saying something, then there should be nothing holding you back, right? Then you have to commit yourself fully to that, because that is something which shows your behavioral trait. Are you a trustworthy person? If you back out, it will be very difficult for people to have trust in you in the future. But if you stand by your words, no matter what, you come out, you emerge yourself as a person who people would look forward to as a trustworthy person. So first and foremost, make sure that you really mean what you are saying, right? And give your word only and only if you feel that, you'll be able to commit to that. So ma'am has joined us, and
I'm going to resume my question.
okay, all right, ma'am.
First selfie. The ancient Greeks and Romans had a myth about someone a little too obsessed with his own.
Ma'am,
In one
ma'am,
telling,
you need to stop share your screen because it's still we can see your PPT. Stop screen sharing first and then YouTube.
All right. Okay, I'll do that.
Actually, ma'am, PPT is displayed, and I think when you will go by stop sharing, the PPT will disappear, and then I think you can run your video. Please check right now on screen your PPT. The last slide it is appearing.
Yeah, now you can play the screen, ma'am.
Now
handsome
you
guy wandering the world in search of someone to love. After rejecting someone a little too obsessed. Way before the first selfie, the ancient Greeks and Romans had a myth about someone a little too obsessed with his own image. In one telling, Narcissus was a handsome guy wandering the world in search of someone to love. After rejecting a nymph named Echo, he caught a glimpse of his own reflection in a river and fell in love with it. Unable to tear himself away, Narcissus drowned. A flower marked the spot where he died, and we call that flower the Narcissus. The myth captures the basic idea of narcissism, elevated and sometimes detrimental self-involvement. But it's not just a personality type that shows up in advice columns. It's actually a set of traits classified and studied by psychologists. The psychological definition of narcissism is an inflated, grandiose self-image. To varying degrees, narcissists think they're better looking, smarter, and more important than other people, and that they deserve special treatment. Psychologists recognize two forms of narcissism as a personality trait: grandiose and vulnerable narcissism. There's also narcissistic personality disorder, a more extreme form, which we'll return to shortly. Grandiose narcissism is the most familiar kind, characterized by extroversion, dominance, and attention-seeking. Grandiose narcissists pursue attention and power, sometimes as politicians, celebrities, or cultural leaders. Of course, not everyone who pursues these positions of power is narcissistic. Many do it for very positive reasons, like reaching their full potential or helping make people's lives better. But narcissistic individuals seek power for the status and attention that goes with it. Meanwhile, vulnerable narcissists can be quiet and reserved. They have a strong sense of entitlement, but are easily threatened or slighted. In either case, the dark side of narcissism shows up over the long term. Narcissists tend to act selfishly, so narcissistic leaders may make risky or unethical decisions, and narcissistic partners may be dishonest or unfaithful. When their rosy view of themselves is challenged, they can become resentful and aggressive. It's like a disease where the sufferers feel pretty good, but the people around them suffer. Taken to the extreme, this behavior is classified as a psychological disorder called narcissistic personality disorder. It affects 1 to 2% of the population, more commonly men. It is also a diagnosis reserved for adults. Young people, especially children, can be very self-centered, but this might just be a normal part of development. The 5th edition of the American Psychiatric Association's Diagnostic and Statistical Manual describes several traits associated with narcissistic personality disorder. They include a grandiose view of oneself, problems with empathy, a sense of entitlement, and a need for admiration or attention. What makes these traits a true personality disorder is that they take over people's lives and cause significant problems. Imagine that instead of caring for your spouse or children, you use them as a source of attention or admiration. Or imagine that instead of seeking constructive feedback about your performance, you instead told everyone who tried to help you that they were wrong. So what causes narcissism? Twin studies show a strong genetic component, although we don't know which genes are involved. But environment matters too. Parents who put their child on a pedestal can foster grandiose narcissism, and cold, controlling parents can contribute to vulnerable narcissism. Narcissism also seems to be higher in cultures that value individuality and self-promotion. In the United States, for example, narcissism as a personality trait has been rising since the 1970s, when the communal focus of the 60s gave way to the self-esteem movement and a rise in materialism. More recently, social media has multiplied the possibilities for self-promotion. Though it's worth noting that there's no clear evidence that social media causes narcissism. Rather, it provides narcissists a means to seek social status and attention. So can narcissists improve on those negative traits? Yes. Anything that promotes honest reflection on their own behavior and caring for others, like psychotherapy or practicing compassion towards others, can be helpful. The difficulty is, it can be challenging for people with narcissistic personality disorder to keep working at self-betterment. For a narcissist, self-reflection is hard from an unflattering angle.
Yes, so I hope that what narcissism is has been very clear now. And we can go ahead with the next.
Good grammar and spelling are important, but if you want to write
No, it's not a buy. Okay, so we were here. Now, understanding the topic a little bit more deeper, what happens when you take these aspects into consideration, and what happens when you're faced with challenges in your life and you do this horn check, right? This reality check. What happens when you honor time and relationships? What happens? It makes you trustworthy. It makes you friendlier. It makes you happier. And when you are happy, you will automatically be healthier. And all these things will definitely lead you to the road to success, right? So why this particular horn is linked to road of success are these parameters. So when I say honoring time and relationships, and when you become trustworthy, people start listening to you. People start respecting you. And if you don't do that, no one will listen to you. Then when you grow up and you say, you know, meri to koi sunta hi nahi hai. It's simply because you haven't gained the trust at the right time. So you have to be friendly, you have to gain trust, you have to be happier, and all these things will come when you honor time and relationships. And when you do all these three aspects, you will definitely be healthier. What happens when you start taking ownership of your life? It makes you smarter. Imagine when you are 40 and you have all the financial capability that you wanted for you when you were 25. Won't you feel good about yourself? Yes, definitely. Money makes you feel not only confident, it makes you feel smarter. It makes you feel that you can achieve what you want to achieve. So please don't undermine this importance of being financially independent, not being greedy, but being very, sound as far as your finances are concerned. Then it obviously will, if you are richer, you will be more attractive. And if you are more attractive, you will be a trendsetter for the society. And this is where life actually comes into play. When you get the onus of being a trendsetter and you use it correctly, things are going to change here. This is the time you get to move the society. This is the time when you set an example. This is the time the society changes because of you. So all this while you were changing because of the society. But now that you have achieved certain parameters of life, now the society changes because of you. So the entire game, the entire ball game has changed now. What happens when you return twice of what you receive? It makes you receive even more. You know, there's a saying, a person who gets more, who
Hello.
gives more will also receive.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, please continue.
Please, ma'am, please continue. Very sorry.
Okay. So obviously, when you return more than what you get, you will start getting even more. You become more compassionate towards people because you start giving to people unconditionally. You don't even think that what you're going to get in return. You just give because you are so full of love and compassion for the person. You become more peaceful because you know that at the end of the day, you have given to the day, to your life, more than what you got, right? And this is the best thing. This is the best feeling that you can get. And if you are doing this, you will be forever peaceful. And of course, it will make you more grateful. And when you're more grateful, it will bring a lot of abundance in your life, right? Your aura is going to change once you become grateful. And the next is not being a narcissist. What will it do? If you're not a narcissist, it will make you believe in God. It will make you trust in your intuition. So your intuition is a very important aspect about your personality, and your intuition can become good only when you are that kind of a spiritual person who does no wrong. Then your intuition becomes sharper and stronger, and you become more adept at dealing with life situations. You rise above the physical. Now, when I say don't be a narcissist, it simply means, like they said, that you should not give a lot of weightage to your individual self, your individuality. Like, many years back, there was this particular talk show that I went to, and the person said that the problem in the Indian kids is that they don't have a very strong sense of individuality. And I said, that's not a problem. That's a very good thing. Because when you have a very strong sense of individuality, your entire life is actually centered around you. I don't like this. I don't like to eat that. I don't like to eat this. This is how I am. I don't like that person. I don't like. So that I is so big that you're not thinking anything beyond that I. So it's very important that you don't give so much importance to your physical self. Rather, you should give more importance to how you feel, your thoughts. So people should not be there just to look at you. You should have friends because they want to be with you. They want to feel you as a person, not just look at you as a person. And last but not the least, if you are not a narcissist, you will be empathetic towards people. And when you are empathetic, you will be a leader, right? For a leader, it is very important to be empathetic. And that's the first leadership quality that we all train people for. If you want to be a good leader, you have to be empathetic. You have to take everyone around you with you. And you cannot do it if you don't feel empathetic, means you don't have a concern for their feelings. So it's very important that you are empathetic. So it's making so many qualities. The bundle of so many qualities comes with only these 4 words, HOR and HORN. And if you just go by these, your life is going to transform, and the road of success is definitely going to be with you. Now, learning by examples. If I have given you these 4 words, I have also brought out examples of these 4 words for you. All right, through people, through very important people. First and foremost is the person I really respect, and I think most of you all would be doing that. You all are budding entrepreneurs, budding, change makers of the society, and you should know that Indian society has a lot to, thank when it comes to Mr. Ratan Tata and the entire Tata family, if I may say. It's not because I am a Mumbaikar. He has done so much for the country that most people would not do very easily. So he is the one who has donated a lot. He is the first person. If you look anywhere in any of the newspapers and wherever there is a donation drive, Mr. Tata is actually the first one to donate. And Tatas have rightly called themselves as the trustees of the people. They feel whatever they do, they don't want to die with that kind of, a legacy of hoarding money or just making business. They want to die with doing a lot of contribution for the society. That's their motto. So if you know, Mr. Ratan Tata has no kids, and that's how the legacy has not gone down to his family, right? He's not doing things for his family. He's not a person who was craving to have a son so that he could pass on the legacy of his business to his son, right? They pass on the legacy of the contribution, not of the business that he has done or not of the business that the family has done. Also, it's very important here that do you own the stuff or the stuff owns you? When you are honoring your time, your relationships, and when you are not hoarding things, what is very important is that you are here for people. You are here to contribute to the society, not to hoard the things, because you cannot be under the power of the things. They cannot control you. You have to control them. Okay, so a true Indian has always remained true to his motherland, the most committed businessman who never believes in splurging. All right, have you ever heard that Mr. Ratan Tata has built a 6-story house? Have you ever heard that Mr. Ratan Tata has so much of security and he's moving around like this and like that, and his family members are spending crores and crores on diamond outfits and gold outfits and spending on marriages? Never. We would have never heard something like this from a Tata family. Even till date, he lives in the same house that he was living in, that he has been living in for so many years. He's never even thought of having a bigger house. But yes, he's been thinking of having a child control lock in his Jaguar. Now that's the difference. The difference is about serving the people, not about hoarding money, not about doing business and just hoarding money. It's about contribution here. My next and very important person, I think you all know her, and you all know the Harry Potter series, is J.K. Rowling. When I say onus, she is the woman who has taken responsibility about herself and her child. She's a single mother. All right. And I have close affinity for single mothers because even I am one. Now, being a single mother, it is very important to grapple with your life situations. You cannot just let go of your life and say, I cannot do it. I give up. There is no such thing as giving up when you are a woman and when you are a single mother. So J.K. Rowling is a perfect example. Now, I would really want you, if you have time, I have put the link and I can share the PPT as well. I have put the link of her talk which she gave at Harvard University. Okay, and it's a long one. So if you want to go through it, you should definitely listen to it. It's very important to know that Miss J.K. Rowling was rejected 12 times before Harry Potter was published. 12 times. And she never gave up. She just never gave up. Even in her speech, she says, which is very, very, that was the most important part of her speech. And I really found it very interesting when she said, when you are 18, there's an expiry date of blaming your parents also of steering you in the wrong direction. So once you turn 18, you cannot blame your parents anymore. This happened because you told me. This happened because that happened because you told me this. You told me to do this, and that's why this happened. No. There is an expiry date of blaming your parents for anything that goes wrong in your life. You cannot do this your entire life. You cannot blame them. Okay, I did this because of you. I did this because you told me to. No. So when you are 18, you have complete responsibility of not only your physical body, not only your mind, but also the decisions that you make. And it's very important that you are convinced about all the decisions that you make in your life. And even if someone is making for you, you have to be convinced that it is the right decision and hence you are making it. So people can only help you to make a decision, but not make a decision for yourself. If your life goes wrong, it is because of you and not your parents. So stop blaming your parents. Stop blaming anyone else for your life. It is your life and you have to take responsibility. And that's why I've put J.K. Rowling as the perfect example for taking onus of life. Next person who returns double and what he gets is my favorite. I don't know if he's your favorite or not, but he's Roger Federer.
My favorite too.
Yes, Roger Federer, and he is the world's highest paid athlete. You will not imagine the kind of charity he does. So he has given enormous amounts of charity for corona relief. Like I was just reading very recently, he has given 1 million to the corona relief people. He has given more than 5 million to the bushfires that happened. And he has also contributed, in fact, his charity works, that is the Roger Federer Foundation, works for the people of Africa, the children of Africa, and they provide them education. So that's his main work, the main work that his charity does. It provides education to the poor people of Africa. And this man is a perfect example of giving back 2x to the society of what he receives. And yet he keeps getting more. He keeps getting more. So that's how it is. That's the grace. The last one to avoid by all means is to be a narcissist. And a perfect example for being a narcissist is Mr. Adolf Hitler, who was the cause for the World War II. So let's not be a narcissist. Let's not be a Hitler. You don't even know certain things about Hitler. When I was reading, a book, I don't remember right now which book it was. So he had a photographer. Hitler had a photographer, and that photographer was ordered to click at least 100 pictures every day of him sitting in different positions and sitting in different places and doing different things. And every night he would audit those photographs. Those hundreds of photographs would come to him, and he would audit them, and he would say, okay, I like this, I don't like this. And the ones that he didn't like, he ordered his photographer to burn them. Because he was so irritated by those photographs where he did not look good. He used to order the photographer to burn those photographs. Every single evening, the politicians, the people who worked with him and for him, they were ordered as a mandate to come and sit with him, where everyone used to just sit in a semicircle. He used to sit and talk, and no one was allowed to talk or speak anything. They just had to sit over there and listen to him. That's a narcissist. So he had kept his niece also, he had kept his niece with him, and he had imprisoned her, which ultimately led to her death as well. He was so possessive about her that he never used to let her go out, meet people, meet anyone. And ultimately it led to her death. So that's what narcissists do, and that's what you don't want to do. You want to think about the people around you always. And you want to be a Ratan Tata, you want to be a J.K. Rowling, you want to be a Roger Federer. I call him Ferrero Rocher. In my house, he's called Ferrero Rocher. And you never want to be Adolf Hitler. Never, never. Next. So, what are we doing with this horn? We blow the horn in any life situation which is difficult. We blow the horn and we check. Am I honoring time and relationships? Am I taking the onus of my life in every aspect? Am I returning back to the people? Am I being a narcissist? If yes, I don't have to be. So blow the horn in every situation. If there's a difficult situation, check for these parameters. Do a reality check. Next one is, obviously you will pause and check. And then when you feel that yes, all these parameters you have checked and there is no problem, then you can move ahead. You can now move ahead towards success a little bit more than before. So that push is going to be given to you by the horn that yes, now you can go ahead. Okay, is everything clear? Okay, I hope you all have understood what I tried to tell you so far. Okay, so let's do a quick check. Now I want you to give me the answers. I want you to show me symbols, all right? So when I say, I'm asking a very simple question. 5 frogs are sitting on a log, 4 decide to jump off. How many are left? 5 frogs are sitting on a log and 4 decide to jump off. How many are left?
5.
Why? There are 5 frogs sitting on a log. 4 decide to jump off. So how many are left?
Correct answer, 5.
5. Why? I need to know the reason also. Why?
All those who gave the answers, Umesh, Maninder, please unmute yourself if you can, or write the answer in the chat box.
Yes, please unmute yourself. I would really want to listen to you.
Good.
And we have some
We've got an answer, ma'am, because they only decided. Because they only decided. That's what they have to do. They only decided to jump off the log and they didn't actually jumped off.
Yes, very true. Because there's a lot of difference between deciding and doing. Most of our lives, we only decide that we want to do something, but we don't really do it. Right? That's a desire, that's an intention, but it never transforms into action. And that's the problem that we all face in our everyday lives as well. We decide, but we don't ultimately land up doing it. We decide that tomorrow we are going to get up early in the morning, but again in the morning we don't do it. So this is a reality check. You have to do what you decide. Otherwise, you are just going to be left behind in your life. They say you must stop becoming a man you want to be and start being the person that you always wanted to be. So you stop, dreaming about it. You start becoming that person. Okay. So when I say you need to take an action, what do you want to do so that all these four qualities are imbibed in you? How will I come to know, or how will you come to know that you have done this or not, that you have achieved these parameters or not? Obviously, you don't have to do it only once. It has to be a continuous process. I have become a little more thoughtful and I have penned down some assignments which you can do at your end. And it would be lovely if you could write back to me and tell me that you could do it. I'll share my email ID at the on the last slide, and I would love to hear your answers if you could do it or not. So first one is, how do you honor your relationships? Go out for a coffee date with your sibling or your parents. Tell your sister, tell your brother, okay, let's go out for a coffee date today. Okay, I'm not going to go out with my friends. I'm going to go out with you. So let's go out and let's go and have coffee. If you break any promise, go back and mend it. If you feel that during this lockdown period, you said something to someone, but you didn't do it, go back and do it. This is the time. All right. Because this time, I feel God has given us a time, whatever you wanted to do, but you could not do it. Because life has become a little slow. It has given you the time to think. Again, when it becomes too fast, you will be out of track. So whatever you could not do, this is the time you can do it. Pledge to never waste food. Not even a single morsel should go in the dustbin. So that's how you will honor food. Call that one person you were good friends with but have not spoken to in a while. So call that person. You were good friends with that person, but in quite some time you have not spoken to that person. So call that person and honor that, yes, once upon a time we were so thick, we used to talk so much, and now I was just thinking about you and I just wanted to honor that, we had a very beautiful time at that particular time together. So I just was wanting to remind you of that. So these 4 things you can do as far as honoring a relationship is concerned. Next is, this is very, very important for everyone. How do you take onus? First, please open a recurring deposit account today. This is for all the students. No matter how much you get as your monthly, even if you get 500, you get 1,000, out of that, at least a 20% should go in the recurring deposit. Yes, and you keep increasing that percentage. So for now, you can keep it at 10% or 20%, but slowly make sure that it increases. So everyone must have a recurring deposit. If you are a mother, you are a daughter, you are a sister, son, brother, whatever, even if you don't get anything from your parents right now, take it and put it in a recurring deposit. They will thank you for this. They will actually thank you for doing this. Start your to-do list. Now, this is very important. In my class, I actually teach a morning routine to the people who want to learn from me. So we do a coaching for a morning routine as well. So in your morning routine, we always ask you to do a to-do list. Now it's very simple. You just have to write the assignment, you have to write the date, assignment, and you have to, at night, you have to just put a tick or a cross, whether you could do it or you could not do it. This is a very important exercise to organize your life and to take responsibility, and every little thing could go there. For example, I want to water the plants in the morning, I put it there. Okay, I want to talk to my CA today, I put it there. Okay, I want to complete my gratitude journal, I put it there. And in the end, I just do a check. Could I do all these things that I had planned in the morning? If you could do it, you just tick over there. If you could not, it will carry down to the next day. And these carry forward should be maximum for 3 days, not more than that. And then another very important aspect is wake up early and follow a morning routine. Right now, your morning routine should be everything. It should be physical exercise. So when you get up, you should do some sort of physical exercise always. You should do meditation. And the third is that you should always watch or visualize something that will stay with you for the entire day. And for this, we do the gratitude journal writing. So I also, in fact, I'm running a group which is an NGO, and it is only for women. And in this NGO, we are doing this practice of morning routine free of cost for anyone who wants to join, 6:30 to 7:30 in the morning. So it's absolutely free of cost. And we have all experts who are doing it. So we do yoga, meditation, and gratitude journal writing as a morning routine every day, so that all women can grapple with any sort of problems. They can feel stronger. They can have a sound mental health. Last is plant a sapling on the first Tuesday of every month. This is very important because this is taking onus of your world. You are the one who have depleted the trees. You are the one who have depleted nature from the earth, and you have to give it back. So why have I put this particular day here? So that you have a particular day of the month when you have to do it. When you say, you have to do it once in a month, it will never happen. You have to fix a day that, okay, this is the day. I just have to go to a nursery and I just have to take a sapling and I have to bring it home, or I have to plant it somewhere. So North India is really blessed because you have such huge houses. When I came from North India, when I came from Punjab to Bombay, I used to wonder that, where would I keep my plants? Because this is something you cannot do here. Okay, so you are really blessed that you have such huge houses there. You can walk around in your house, you can plant saplings there. Everything is just readily there for you. You don't have to go out anywhere to do it. Next is, when I talk about taking action, the assignment is giving back to the world. So obviously you have to do some sort of charity. You have to volunteer, render services for an organization. It might be helping your students also, your classmates. It might be helping your classmates without taking anything from them. It might be giving tuitions to the younger students. If you're good at maths or you're good at science or any subject, you can give tuitions free of cost. You can teach them. All right. Start a pension for your domestic help. Not many people do this. You just have to start. You just have to help them. And what happens is a part of their salary will go in the pension account. And they will start building up on their money, because most of these people don't save. So you don't have to do anything for them. You just have to show a path to them that, okay, this is what you can do. Start a pension account, and please do it for all your domestic helps within this week. All right, within the coming week, please do it. Start saving for your parents so that you can keep them financially sound and protected. Here, I would really like to mention about health insurance and term insurance, these two insurances. So when you grow up, say when you are 25 or 30 years of age, you would definitely want, when you are sound in your work, in your job, you are earning a regular income. It's very important that you have a term insurance plan, so that if something happens to you, there are people who are going to get something because you were living such a beautiful life, right? So you don't want a gift, you want to give them a gift. You want your life to be a gift. So health insurance is again very important because of the times that we are in right now. Everything is so unpredictable. If you have a health insurance plan in place, it's really going to help you. I understand that the students are really young at this point of time to think about it. But yes, in the coming years, say when you are 25, you would have to go for it. You should go for it when you are 25 because the premiums are very low at a younger age. Last but not the least is practice gratitude journal writing. And every night before sleeping, this is something I love doing. So when you feel that main hi sab kuch hoon, I am the most important person in this world, just go out and look at the stars for 10 minutes. Just gaze at the sky for 10 minutes. You will feel how puny you are. You will feel that you are nothing in this world. Just spend 10 minutes looking at the stars and gazing at the sky. This is a very good practice and it really heals you. You won't even come to know how it is healing you. But when you look at the sky, you will feel that you are just nothing. You are zero. You are zilch. Okay, then I have also given you all a reading list, and these are the 5 books which I really recommend that every one of you should not read, you should do. You have to do these books. You cannot read this book and put it away. So spend some time. It's not necessary that you have to complete a book, very quickly. No, don't do that. You have to chew on every aspect that this book tells you, that all these books tell you. So I remember reading an interview of Pranab Mukherjee, who is not there with us anymore. I really wanted to pay a tribute to him when I was doing the reading list. First time in my life, I read something like this. This man said that he used to read 3 books at a time. At any given point of time, he would be reading 3 books. So in one single day, he would read 3 books. And he was the first person who said that it is absolutely fine to read 3 books together, but it's very important that you chew on every aspect that is written on it. Right? So please go slow. It's not necessary that you have to go fast. You can just buy one book, finish it. You can take, I would say, the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. This book is very, very effective in changing you as a person. There are 15 laws. You take 1 week for one law. So like this, you can complete the entire book in 15 weeks. You will be a changed, absolutely changed person. The 5 a.m. club, which I absolutely love because of the importance of getting up early in the morning. Trust me, all those who are not getting up early in the morning, you are missing out on a major chunk of life. The most beautiful part, see, I am a nocturnal person. I cannot sleep early at night, but I make sure that I get up early in the morning and then I take a nap somewhere in between. Okay, but I don't want to miss out the dead night and I don't want to miss out the early morning also. So sometimes I'm sleeping at 2, I'm getting up at 6. I'm sleeping at 3, I'm getting up at 6. But I do make it a point that I get up early in the morning. Next is Attitude is Everything, which is again a very good book by Jeff Keller. It's a very, very tiny, thin book and it will get over within a week. And it's so easy to understand that you will have so many takeaways from this book. The Power of Focus. This book is very important for everyone. Now this book, you go for the limited edition book, they have plans inside. They will give you all detailed plans about your life, what kind of planning you should have in your life. So you can do this book, you can create maps for yourself. Reinventing the Body and Resurrecting the Soul, How to Create a New You. This is by Deepak Chopra. Now, the first book is, you must be knowing the authors. If not, I can just tell you. The first one is by Maxwell. The second one is Robin Sharma. Attitude is Everything is by Jeff Keller. This is by Brown and this is by Deepak Chopra. So it's very important that you read these books very minutely. You chew on everything that is written in it. Go slow, but make sure that you do these books in the next 5 books. I can give you 6 months. You can take 7 months also, but these 5 books should be done in 7 months. So let's take a quick recap of whatever we have done today.
If you would just allow me to say something for a minute.
No? Yes?
Yeah, ma'am, I would just like to tell all the students here that you mentioned all those 5 separate help books are really good. Plus, I would like them to start with, there is this, the 5 a.m. club.
Yes.
And just get started by reading the course and all the other help books as well. So, once you get started, you won't be able to help, but you are going to land up, with the book in the hand and kind of would be all eager and agog to read the book. So just start with that because that is what I am doing these days. 5 a.m. club, beautiful course to get started and to bring your life back on track. Yeah, please continue. Thank you.
So actually, if you ask me, I have put these books in the order of my preference.
Personal preferences. Okay. I got it.
That's how I like it. But obviously, you can tweak. You can pick any book. If you feel that you cannot read a very fat book, then go for the first one. If you feel that you read a book by its size, then you go for the third one.
Third one, yes.
Yes. But the power of focus is something that you need to do. You really need to sit back and work on it. These are very important aspects of your life. So let's quickly do a recap of today's class. So when I say horn, I say honor, O for onus, R for returning twice of what you receive, and N, not to be a narcissist. What are these? We have discussed what is the horn. The negative effects are that you will start losing yourself, and very slowly but gradually you will lose track of life, and then you would get into all sort of troubles, mental health, financial breakdown. You will be broke, you will start losing your health. All these things will happen because you've not taken care of the horn before. The positive results I have already spoken about. We'll be more trustworthy, friendlier, healthier, happier, richer, smarter, more giving, compassionate, empathetic. What else do we want? And I have also told you how you can take action on these things so that you can start working on it. So the entire plan is ready. Now you just have to jump into the pond. Just don't think, just jump. You have to do it. And this can come only when you decide that, yes, I have taken this step, I have decided to do it, and I'm definitely going to do it. I just want to tell you, in the end, my final takeaway is that let's develop the best attitude towards life, which is the gratitude attitude. And this attitude will never let you go wrong in life, because saying thank you can never go wrong. So I thank you so much for letting me be a part of this beautiful expert talk program that you had. And I have absolutely enjoyed making this talk for you. I have loved it. And I'm sure that you're going to work on it. And I'm going to sure that you are going to remember horn, okay, please, forever. My email ID, if anyone wants to get in touch with me and want to share your feedback, you want to, write to me that you have done those practices that I have told you, you are most welcome.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. And I must compliment. I was supposed to go for 1 or 2 meetings, but the style, the way you were putting your points and you were emphasizing, and you are supposed to do this, or really I was not able to go somewhere else in the entire show of around 1.5 hours. Really the life learning tips which you have discussed, really worth noting and worth execution. It requires the execution as well, and definitely when you will start practicing all these skills, so one can start little bit right from the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. By having certain sort of practice, you are in a position to develop your habits in such a way, definitely you are going to be on the road of success. And the horn is okay. The number of points, the honors, this, that, that. So really amazing. I must compliment again and again with regard to the entire presentation. So once you are able to develop the attitude of gratitude, definitely, and the empathy, it's a wonderful thing. And a few examples, like right from the morning. So that is a very good practice in case if you are able to rise early by 5 a.m. or by maximum by 6, and start observing nature. So the observation, it is a most powerful tool. So start seeing birds, start seeing the nature, the plants, means how they are behaving. They are supposed to tell something at least. And once you are starting certain sort of practice, you are able to listen. And in the evening, just you were telling that watching stars and moon, and definitely the lot of healing will be there. So absolutely all the wonderful and amazing things you have mentioned. And more or less a few areas I am practicing this. And further about the domestic help, the point which you have mentioned. So really you are doing a wonderful thing for the society, and this is need of the hour. And I think the majority of households, they are doing this. They are using the lot of domestic help. And when we will start thinking, at least the person around you. In such a case, with this small start, definitely you are a big contributor to the society. So the wonderful takeaway of the session. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being part of the APJ family and giving the wonderful presentation. Thank you so much.
Indeed, really happy to be a part of this. Thank you so much. And everyone, please stay safe and stay healthy. Don't venture out. I don't know the situation there, but in Mumbai, it's really getting worse with every single day. So just take care of yourselves and stay connected to nature. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for connecting today. I would request all the students now. We'll be having the next lecture after the existing students. For new students, so we have this starting with the subject sessions from tomorrow onwards, and your date sheet would be shared with you. So thank you so much, Shilpa ma'am, for joining today and guiding our students on this very relevant topic. So thank you.
Tell the students one last thing. This was the last expert talk. I didn't know. I'm more happy now that this was the last talk. And I just want you all to remember the horn, okay, please, wherever you go. Whenever you see horn, okay, please remember what it actually means for your life. Thank you so much.
Absolutely right.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.